Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Check this out, y'all. This episode is going to be a hard one for me, but I want to talk about it because I believe that a lot of people out there are suffering due to trauma they've experienced in their past, unresolved trauma. You know what I mean? And I just want you to know that it's okay, that I understand what you're going through. And I want to share, what I've experienced in my life. And hopefully that will help you understand that it'll be okay. So I just want you to pay attention to what I'm about to say because this is going to be heavy. Like one of the most heavy episodes I've ever done, So when I was 7 years old, my mother died. And I was traumatized to the point that I stopped talking for 3 months. They had to take me out of school and all of that kind of stuff, right? And I didn't say one word for 3 months. And during that time, I remember it now vividly, just talking about it, that, I had a lot of questions that I wanted to ask, but psychologically, I guess, I just wasn't able to do that. I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. I had been hurt so bad by my mom's death that I just didn't want to say another word ever. I shut down. Everything shut down mentally for me. And my family took care of me in every way. You know what I mean? And in this episode, I'm going to share with you some of those questions that my younger consciousness has held on to for years, and how those unanswered questions, I believe, contributed to the bad decisions that I've made in my life. And this is going to be a heavy episode, y'all, but I want y'all to ride it out with me. I'm a people, you know what I'm saying? And this episode, I believe, will help you and me. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Check us out, y'all. Like I said in the intro, when I was 7 years old, my mom passed away. And it did something terrible to me. It shut me all the way down. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to do anything. Stopped going outside, stopped playing with my friends, my family members. They took me out of school because I was just so traumatized by what happened. I was just not there at all. And I've had family members over the years that told me they just didn't think that I would ever be right again. And proof of that is that they never really told me the true circumstances surrounding my mother's death until after I was an adult. I'd been in the Marine Corps, and when I got locked up and they were trying me for the death penalty, they had to, the people that were working on my jury, they wanted to know everything they could about me so they could make the right decisions on my behalf. So they learned, and they were the ones that told me that my mom had actually been murdered. And all those years growing up, I thought my mom had been, she had died from breast cancer because that's what I had been told. But they never thought that it was the right time while I was growing up. And when I say they, I mean my family members, my grandparents. They just never thought it was the right time. They told my younger sister and my older brother, but they said it was always something about me that made them nervous about, could he handle the truth? Could he handle this? And they decided that I couldn't, so they just never told me. But I remember, man, I remember, y'all, when I was growing up, I could tell a lot of times that, certain conversations or certain things that might be going on, they kind of just didn't go heavy with it on me, right? And that's me looking back. But I remember one time vividly, man, one of the questions that I had for my family that was heavy for me is like, why did my mama have to go away? And my consciousness, like I say, my younger consciousness. And when I say my younger consciousness throughout the rest of the episode and any future episodes that I do about this topic, I'm talking about my younger self. You know what I mean? So one of the questions, like I said, that I've held on to, my younger consciousness has held on to, is why did my mom have to go away? And I think that it's time that I answered that question for myself, you know, as an adult, as someone that has experienced life, even though, you know, my life has been up and down and all of the things that I've been through, it's been kind of rough and mostly self-inflicted. I still think that I need to answer that question for my younger consciousness so that I can find a way to move beyond. Because one of the things that's so important about having that conversation with your younger self is awareness, giving you the ability to self-reflect. And that's what I'm doing in this episode. I'm trying to think of all the things that contributed to a lot of the decisions that I made, because I want to be the best version of me that I can be. But I won't be able to do that unless I do have that conversation. That's what I believe. That I won't be able to do that or be the best version of myself unless I have that conversation with my younger consciousness. And I want to do that in this form because I get so much support from all of you that, you know, I get strength from it. You know, not to say that I don't get it from my family, because I do, but you're part of my family now. You know what I'm saying? And what I would say to my younger self, my younger consciousness, is that I know it's really hard for you to understand, but sometimes people die. They get sick and die. They get hurt and die by other people. And it's not right, but it is a part of life that people die. And if somebody gets sick, it's not sometimes the doctors can't fix it. When somebody else makes a bad decision that affects you, it's a tragedy. But, you know, you have to continue to go on. And my mom, you know what I'm saying? Our mom is how I would say that to my younger consciousness. So don't think I'm losing my mind, y'all, because I'm having this conversation with my younger consciousness, but I'm allowing you to listen in on it. Is our mother, she was hurt by somebody, and it caused her to die. And she's no longer with us, but she didn't leave us because she didn't love us. She left us because somebody else made a decision that affected her life, which ultimately affected ours. Yeah. And another question that I would have, that my younger consciousness has always had, that I thought about when I was younger, that I never had the strength to ask is, you know, why did I stop talking? Did I do something to make myself sick like that? And the answer is no. You didn't do anything wrong. And when Mama died, it was like a huge wave of sadness and confusion that hit us. And sometimes when you're hurt so much, our hearts feel so heavy, too heavy to use words. And it's a way of showing how much pain that we were in. And that's why you stop talking. That's why we stop talking. It's getting hard for me, y'all, but I'm going to push through this thing. I'm going to push through this thing for real, because I want to share this with you, because I want people to know that you can get through this, right? Another question that I had, my younger consciousness had, was, did you stop missing Mama eventually? That is what I would be asking my family. Do you eventually stop missing her? And I don't. I've never stopped missing Mama. Never stopped missing Mama. And but over time, you know, the pain started to feel less sharp. It's not as intense as it used to be. And that's not because I love her any less, because I don't. I love her as much. I love her as much now as I always have, and I always will. And it's okay for us to keep memories of her and still feel sad sometimes. But when I remember her, it makes me cherish her even more and cherish the time that we had together. And it's okay that you um, struggle sometimes with that. It really is, because it's going to be okay. Another question. Did you ever feel angry about what happened? Do you feel angry about what happened? And I do. Yes, yes, I feel angry about what happened. And that's normal to feel angry. Because sometimes when things are unfair and hurtful, you get angry. And our mother was taken away from us. And that has a tremendous weight that I've had to bear because of what I did, the crimes that I committed. But I also learned that it's important to find healthy ways to express my anger, to express our anger, like talking about it or doing things that help us feel better. Sharing, don't shut down. If you feel like you're going to shut down, we have to learn to express that to somebody. And that's something that my younger consciousness that wasn't able to do at that age, because that's a lot of weight for somebody that age to bear. And a lot of people, oftentimes, especially in some communities, they think that you're just going to grow out of it and everything is going to be okay. And I just don't believe that to be true now. But I want you to know that it did work out okay to an extent, but it did affect us. You know what I'm saying? It did affect us. That anger got the best of us sometimes. And another question is, will I ever start talking again? And I would tell my younger consciousness, yeah. Because when I shut down, I remember so vividly, y'all. And I'm bouncing back and forth between my younger and older consciousness. So keep up with me, okay? I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect for us. And but I knew that my family loved me and the people around me loved me. And they all would say and do things to try to get me to open up little by little. And they were patient. And they gave us space to heal. And that's important when you're going through this. You got to be patient with those that are hurting and give them space to heal. And that's what our family did for us. They gave us space to heal. And when I was ready, when we were ready, you know what I'm saying, we found our voice again. And I don't think we shut up since, but, we got a lot to talk about, and a big contribution to make. And another question that my younger consciousness has is that, is it okay to feel sad now? And I would say absolutely. It's okay to feel sad. Grief doesn't have a time limit on it. It just doesn't. And everyone's journey is different. And if you ever feel sad, any of you out there, if you ever feel sad, just remember that you're not alone. And that's what I would say to my younger consciousness now, that you're not alone. We're in this together and we have each other. And there are people who care about us and want to support us. We just have to let them. We have to let them. And another question I have from my younger consciousness is, did you keep anything to help you remember mom about? Do we have anything like that? And I say, yeah, I do. I have pictures of mama. But more importantly, I have her in our hearts. And I'll always remember her. And you will too. And it's just funny, y'all. I'm gonna share this with y'all. I don't know if a lot of you seen my pictures or anything like that, right? But I have a gap in my teeth in the front, and my mother had a gap, and I just thought it was the most beautiful thing. I remember uh, I would always reach up to touch her mouth, when I was a kid, and now I find myself sometime I just rub on our lip, and I think about Mama, think about her, and we're gonna always have her. We're gonna always have her. And finally, uh, my consciousness, my younger consciousness, would ask that, and I wanted to ask when I was younger, how, when will things be normal again? And I would say to my younger consciousness that uh, life will never be exactly the same as it was before. Never. But it can still be good. Um, we'll go on to create new kinds of normals filled with new experiences and people and memories. And it's going to take us some time, but we'll find happiness again. But we got to work together. And we have. And it's been a long journey. And I've stumbled along the way. But we're going to be okay. And I said all of that to say, especially to all of you out there listening, is that, when you go through some things, you have to take into account what traumas you experienced in your life. And you have to find a way to reconcile that, because that younger consciousness that's inside of you, it may not have healed. It may not have healed. And I'm shaking right now, y'all. I'm shaking because I've never done this. I've never bothered to try and answer the questions that my younger consciousness has had for me all of these years this way. I've thought about it, but I've never thought to sit down and talk about it, talk to myself basically about it, and especially sharing it with all of you. And I feel a little bit better. I feel weird because I was bouncing back and forth between us, we, I, me. But what I can say is that I think that your consciousness, it lives. And if a part of your consciousness has unresolved issues, you have to find a way to resolve those. And I think that's what this process is all about. I've heard for years people talking about writing a letter to your younger self and all of those types of things. It helps you reflect. It helps you think about some of the things that may have happened to you in your life or have happened to you in your life that influence the decisions that you make today. Because some of the things that I've done in my life, I know it has a direct connection to what I experienced when I was younger. And I'm going to be talking about that in another episode, my fear of rejection that for years caused me to not be able to fully share all of me with whomever I was with, because I was afraid that if I go all in, that they wouldn't accept me. That anxiety that I experienced, that's another thing, that fear of rejection, that fear of being alone, how it would make me act. I would be too clingy. All of that is a result of what I experienced, and I never resolved it. And just having that conversation, just saying it out loud, is giving me a sense of empowerment. It's giving me a sense of peace because I'm demonstrating that I'm not afraid to confront what it is that I experienced when I was younger. And I want all of you out there to get that same strength so that you can deal with those things that you have in your life going forward in a healthy, productive manner. See, all of those things that we confront when we're younger, we can't process those things in a way that helps us to understand what we're going to be facing later on because we can't see into the future. But we can look back and try to rectify or reconcile some of those things by having a conversation with our younger consciousness. And then it'll help you going forward. I hope I'm not confusing you. This is difficult for me, and I'm going to be doing some other episodes, self-therapy as I call it. And I hope that I get better at it. But I didn't want to script this. I wanted this to be raw and uncut so that you can understand and feel how difficult this can be. Because I want you to go into this with your eyes open and have that conversation with yourself, your younger consciousness. Because I think you'll be better for it. I really do. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. And I say peace, y'all.